Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Red, White, and Ruthless, a Nickel City Mafia production where our family business is football. Today, I am actually by myself today. My name is Brett McDurphy. I'm one of the hosts of the Nickel City Mafia's Red, White, and Ruthless show. Unfortunately, Sean Kula will be out this week. He's taking a bye week this week. I took one a couple weeks ago. We had a fill-in. Mike Fortin with the Nickel City Mafia filled in for me. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a fill-in for Sean Kula. So you guys are stuck with the less handsome version this week. We're going to fill in a lot of stuff that we have to get to, but you're going to be with me today. And it'll be a fun day. We're going to discuss a lot today, not only the Bills and Bengals matchup, but we will also get into the trade deadline and the free agents moves that the Buffalo Bills made, as well as the trade that the Bills made at the deadline 30 minutes before the deadline, going after a star cornerback that we got from the Green Bay Packers. But let's begin talking about the trade deadline, because that is the most important thing. And we have a couple of new faces that we have on the Buffalo Bills. 3 new faces that came in this week, 3 players that are going to make an immediate impact on the Buffalo Bills, starting with the trade that we made for Rasul Douglas, a 6'2", 209-pound cornerback that we got from the Green Bay Packers for a 3rd-round pick. We also received a 5th-round pick for Rasul Douglas, and this is a move that the Bills had to make because they were struggling at the cornerback position. Kaiir Elam, unfortunately, goes on the IR. Probably going to be done for the season, I imagine. That's going to be the case with the ankle injury that he has. But the Bills are going to move and have a new star cornerback on their team. PFF rated Rasul Douglas 12th overall in terms of his skills that he's done this year. Excellent in coverage ability and a person that's going to be an immediate impact not only on the field, but also in the locker room for the Buffalo Bills. Now, when we did our trade analysis of who the Bills could go after, one of the players that we thought of was Rasul Douglas, but from what we heard around the league was that Rasul Douglas was not going to be available. And I was really surprised at 12 o'clock when the trade deadline was about to start heating up. Rasul Douglas's name was not on that list. And it seemed like he was going to stay with the Green Bay Packers. We were hearing names like Jalen Johnson that was going to come to the Buffalo Bills, possibly even Deontay Jackson from the Carolina Panthers. That was another name for the Buffalo Bills to go after. Or they might have stayed put and just rolled with guys like Josh Norman, or even try and get a veteran off the street that they could have grabbed. But it seemed like the Bills were not going to be able to go after Rasul Douglas. He seemed like he was staying put in Green Bay. He's well-liked in that locker room of the Packers, but unfortunately, moves can be made, and the Green Bay Packers decided that it was best for them to move on. So, Mafia Sports Report said that if you would like, I can join you, buddy. Just need a few minutes. Definitely, if you want to join on, I can send you the link. You can send me a message on Instagram. I have it's going to be the Go Bills podcast. You're more than welcome to send me a link if you want to, or your email on there. Or if you prefer, you can add your email into the comment section, and I can delete the comment as well. But yeah, we got a few players that we got from the Buffalo Bills. Really looking exciting for these guys. So we have the first one in Rasul Douglas, who is a coverage cornerback that's going to be making an immediate impact. Mafia Sports Report, yes, I do have a Twitter. It is the same thing, Go Bills Podcast. You can just hit me up on there, and you can send me a message, and I will respond that way as well. So I have all sorts of social media platforms on here as well. But you're more than welcome to join if you want to. I can share the link with you as well. So the first one we got, Rasul Douglas, who's going to be the coverage cornerback that we're going to have for the Buffalo Bills. Probably going to play the number 1 cornerback role on the team. We also have guys like Christian Benford, as well as and I'm drawing a blank on it. It's going to bother me the whole entire night. And I can picture his last name in Jackson. I can't even think of his first name now, and it's going to bother me so much. I'm just drawing a blank on that one. I can picture him on the field, but I just could not think of his name off the top of my head, and I'm going to draw a blank on it, guys. I apologize. But we also have, I'm thinking of Deion Jackson for the Buffalo Bills. That's going to make an impact as well. But this is going to be a move that's going to help the Buffalo Bills in terms of depth, number one. And it's also going to help the Bills as well with their ability to disguise coverages as well. And I was thinking of Dane Jackson, guys. I couldn't even think of his name. I apologize. Drawing a blank on that. Dane Jackson. Couldn't think of his name. It's just been a long week, though. But Dane Jackson making an immediate impact with the Buffalo Bills, as well as having Rasul Douglas, the three guys that can disguise coverage. Now you're going to be able to move Jordan Poyer to the back end to be able to be the safety. This also helps Micah Hyde as well as Jordan Poyer in the back end. They can now become the ball hawk safeties that we want them to be. Another area that this is going to help the Buffalo Bills in is their ability to cover. One of the areas that they've struggled with is going up against number one wide receivers. This week we have the Cincinnati Bengals that we're going up against that have two number one receivers in T. Higgins as well as Jamar Chase. They also have Tyler Boyd, who is a good number two wide receiver on any team besides the Cincinnati Bengals, but he is the number three option for the Bengals. This is a player that's going to have to be covered on every single play. And now you add in Rasul Douglas, who is by far the best player that you could have gotten on the trade market to get. And he's going to make an immediate response, and he's going to be able to knock down a lot of passes for the Buffalo Bills. The second player that we have on the team that just came over in free agency, Linval Joseph, the big one-tech defensive tackle that is going to be the player that is going to take on the role that Daquan Jones was playing for the Buffalo Bills. Now, that probably means that Daquan Jones is going to be out for the rest of the year with the pec injury, but this is a move that I was surprised the Bills did not make earlier in the year. You had Akeem Hicks that could have came over from the Buffalo Bills in free agency. You also had Linval Joseph that were both available. Surprised the Bills didn't make a move a little sooner. I guess they wanted to see what they had on the roster with guys like Jordan Phillips as well as Tim Settle. But this is also a move that I love because he can fill excuse me, guys. He can fill the one tech position and be able to generate holes for the Buffalo Bills. This also helps the outside of the perimeter with the defensive ends, and this should make the jobs of Von Miller and Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, and even Shaq Lawson's job so much better because now you have a guy in the middle that's being the one tech that can take on double teams. It'll also free up Ed Oliver in the middle so that you can generate more pass rush in the middle of the field. Jessica Tennis coming in saying, "Hey, Brett." Hey, Jessica, appreciate you for tuning in on the show. But this is a move I absolutely love because you needed that guy in the middle that could plug the middle and be able to stop holes for the running backs that we're going to be going up against, like Joe Mixon and even DeAndre Swift that we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. This is a great move from the Buffalo Bills, and it also allows Poona Ford to be able to step back and become that rotational piece in the middle of the defensive line of the Buffalo Bills. Right now, we are playing Poona Ford a little too much. He's a little undersized, for my opinion. He is 5'10", 310 pounds. Now you can allow a guy that's 6'4", 323 pounds, big body guy to take over the middle of the line of scrimmage for the Buffalo Bills. And you know damn well he's going to take on the double teams in the middle of the field. Mafia Sports Report. Let me see if I can send you a message on YouTube, or let me see if I can also get you in on a private chat. Just shoot your email in here in the comments. I didn't see your anything come in on Twitter. So if you want to join, just let me know. But I haven't seen anything pop up on Twitter. I do have my Twitter open right now, so didn't see anything come in. But if you want to join, just shoot me your email on here as well. So you're more than welcome to join. But nothing has popped up on my phone yet, so you're more than welcome to join if you want to. 305 Gmail. Gotcha. Okay, I will send you the link in just 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. I just sent you the email, so you're all set. But this was one of my favorite moves that the Bills made this week, and I think it's going to not only help the interior pass rush of the Buffalo Bills, but it's also going to allow them to not give up so many yards per carry in terms of the running backs that we're going to be going up against coming up. The last move that the Bills made is actually an offensive player, the only offensive player that the Bills got this week in Leonard Fournette, the talented running back who came from LSU. Last year had over 1,200 all-purpose yards. He is somebody that can do it all on the field, but the biggest thing about him is weight issues that he's had in the past. Fournette last year with the Tampa Bay Bucks, after signing a 3-year deal in the 2022 offseason, he finished the year with 73 receptions for 523 yards, receiving 3 touchdowns on the year to go along with the 189 carries for 668 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns for the team. He is a player that's going to come in and make an immediate impact in the running game. After losing Damian Harris, this is a move that I believe makes the team a lot better, because not only can he do it in the run game, but he can also do it in the passing game, which is an area that the running backs haven't been used as much as I would hope that they would be used. And it also helps for guys like James Cook to be able to take a breather on the sidelines and not have to be the focal point of the offense every single week as a lead running back. Now, if you have a guy like James Cook struggling, you can rely on Leonard Fournette to step in, and Latavius Murray won't have to take on the bigger role that he has been. Another area where this is going to help the Buffalo Bills in is the run game, and I believe that this move is going to make the team so much better. I love this move for the offense. We have a lot of games coming up where we're going to be going up against very good defenses, and the best way to stop a pass rush from the defense is to have a run game. And you also have to remember the Bills play in Buffalo, which is an area that snow happens in quite a bit. We already saw the first snowfall that happened right on Halloween this year, which was a good time for the first snowfall to happen. And you saw what it looked like inside the Bills stadium. Immediately, snowfall. And this is going to be a year where the Bills are going to have to play the ground and pound game. Also rely on the short game for the Buffalo Bills and the short passes that you can have from Josh Allen to Leonard Fournette or even James Cook. It's going to make this offense and James Cook even better as the weeks go on. I love this move from the team. Let's get into the jersey numbers for each player as well. Leonard Fournette coming into the Bills will be wearing number 5. So if you see that number 5 on the field, you'll know it's Leonard Fournette. Second guy in Rasul Douglas wearing number 31 on the Buffalo Bills, making the old school Dean Marlowe look even better now. He was the last player I could think of that wore that number 31. And then Linval Joseph wearing the number 93, who I can't even remember the last one, but the last one I can remember is Trent Murphy that wore that number 93. We have Tommy from Mafia Sports Report tuning in, coming on the show as well. Let me throw him into the chat as well. And everybody give a warm welcome to Tommy from Mafia Sports Report. Tommy, how are you today, buddy?
What is up, man? How you doing, Brett? Man, I saw you all alone. I'm like, man, I feel for this dude. Been there, done that. It's always better with two. So,
it is.
I was free, and I'm like, hey, man, if you need my help, I got you, bro. So
I appreciate it so much. So we got into the free agency moves and the trades that the Buffalo Bills made, And I got to ask you, Tommy, what is your favorite free agency move as well, or trade moves that the Bills made this week? And which one do you think is going to make the biggest impact on the Buffalo Bills?
Well, they made the one trade, obviously, to Rasul Douglas. That right there was something that I felt like going into the trade deadline was a position that we needed to fill. Like that was the must-have position, in my opinion. Defensive tackle was right there as well. And I would have liked to see a receiver possibly. But I knew that it wasn't possible to do multiple trades. And I also know Brandon Beane's history. He doesn't trade often. I think I tweeted out the day of the trade before it happened. Brandon Beane in-season trades, he's done it 3 times in total. One in 2017 for Benjamin, and he did it in 2022 for Hines and Marlowe. So that was it. So I know how he values his draft picks, and it was getting me worried. I'm not going to lie. It was like 3:30. Deadline was 4, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Brandon Beane, once again, just being super stubborn when it comes to draft picks. And we really needed help, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then he did it. He made a really good trade for Rasul Douglas, a position, like I said, we really needed. This guy is a taller corner, 6'1". He's a ball hawk. He plays his own type of defense, so he'll fit right in to the scheme. So that won't be something that he'll struggle with coming here. And he'll be our number one. I truly believe that you're going to see him and Benford as the number 2 moving forward. And like I said, he's not even a loaner if we don't want. If we want, we can keep him one more year. And I have a feeling what will happen with him is, depending how the rest of the season goes, I think they could do something where they can extend his contract and make it work out, right, whereas next year isn't so high on the cap, and maybe give him a 2-year extension, to make it kind of work out for numbers wise. Right. Then they went ahead and got Joseph. Linval Joseph is a mountain of a man. That dude is a beast, and he's a body mover. That's what he does, and he fills holes. So he's going to help out Ed Oliver. He's going to help out the rest of that defensive line, Leonard Floyd, Greg Rousseau, Von Miller, just by taking on double teams. That's what he does. He clogs holes. He's a run stuffer. So that was a must-have. And the reason, and I was listening to you earlier, why didn't we pick up Joseph earlier? And that's the classic Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott type of move. They want to see how our other players respond. They want to give opportunity within, let's say, the house, right? So they did that. They did that with Tim Settle. They did that with Poona Ford. Settle's not been good since we signed him. And I think they were just holding out for hope that he would be, he would fill that spot until Daquan gets back, and he just hasn't done it. And then Poona Ford, I think he just hasn't seen enough playing time. So we just needed a true one tech, and Poona Ford is just not that true one tech. So I love the signing. This guy, yes, he's older, but he came into Philly last year and went to the Super Bowl with them, played excellent football. So yeah, I love those two, the trade and the signing right after. And Beane, you could tell when he talked to reporters, he wanted that defensive tackle position. That's something he really wanted to go out and get. It was on his mind, and he was going to get one. And he sure did. He did it right, I think, a day after that press conference when he said it's super important. So tells you all that you need to know about Tim Settle and Poona Ford right now filling in that spot, and Jordan Phillips as well, who's having a rough season. And then Leonard Fournette, that's an interesting signing because maybe Harris is not coming back. I could also see Harris being placed on like an injured reserve settlement, or maybe like they release him on a settlement, because it just doesn't make sense if they feel like Harris is coming back at any point. Then you have 4 running backs, and 3 of them do the same thing, right? So you got Murray, who's a banger, Fournette, who's a banger, and then Cook, that's your off back, right? He's your speed. You're not going to have 3 guys and doing the same thing in Harris, Murray, and Fournette. So I think Harris might be the odd one out, but I could be wrong. But I like the signing Fournette, by the way. I think Fournette could come in, be our short yardage back. and do that three-headed monster with Murray, him, and Cook. So yeah, I like all the signings.
Yeah, I think that these moves are going to make the Bills a lot better. I got into the jersey numbers for everybody, talking about which ones they're going to be wearing. So Fournette, number 5, Rasul Douglas, 31, and then you got Linval Joseph wearing number 93. This is going to make the Bills so much better as the weeks come on because we're going up against elite talent coming up. Not only this week, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, but you have the Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles coming up. And we're going to be going up against teams that can not only throw the ball on us, but can run the ball as well with Isaiah Pacheco coming in and Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. You add in Tony Pollard, who's another great running back. And the Bills have been giving up a ton of points in the run game for defenses over 5 yards per carry. This is going to make the team so much better in the middle of the field by plugging it up the middle, especially after, like you said, losing Daquan Jones. It's going to make the team so much better, and it's going to make the pass rush even more elite. But we have a question, well, not a question, but a comment on here from John Roberts saying, FYI, Josh Norman was called up to the practice squad. That is true. And I was going to ask you this, Tommy, because we now have Kaiir Elam, who's going to be out this for the long term on IR. I was going to ask you, which cornerback do you think is going to fill that spot on the inactive list for inactive players, or do you think it's going to be somebody else that's going to have to be inactive for the next weeks?
Norman actually played pretty decent on special teams. I liked his play from last week. I thought he was hitting some boys out there. But if it's going to be anyone, I would say Norman. It's an odd call up, but I understand it at the same time because you're placing Kaiir Elam on the IR. By the way, you're not going to see Kaiir Elam this season unless there's another injury. I just can't see it happening. I think he's been in the doghouse since week 1. And the only reason you saw him because there was injuries. Let's be real. So yeah, if anyone, I think it would be Norman because you can't make Dane Jackson inactive. You can't, obviously not Ron Johnson. You can't do your number 2 like that. So if anyone's the odd man out, it would probably be Norman, but maybe they roll with Norman and all those corners and make somebody else inactive in the game. It really, honestly, I think it's going to boil down to matchup at the end of the day. But I would say Norman moving forward would probably be your odd man out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And John Roberts mentioning Jamarcus Ingram as well. That could be a name that is going to be one of the inactives. I thought of Cam Lewis possibly being another one on the inactive list. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm one of the guys, I don't know about you, but I'm one of the guys that's like, I love Cam Lewis on the team. He fits the role, but he could be the odd man out going forward as a guy that
could be as well.
Could be off the team even soon too. Well, let's get into the matchup of the week. And this is the highly anticipated matchup, in my opinion, for games that I circled on the calendar. I don't know if you did as well. I was looking forward to this game because this is the rematch of the playoff game that took us out of the playoffs last year. And it's also the rematch of a game that should have finished out, unfortunately, when lost my microphone there, so I apologize. I'm cut off.
I'm like, is it me or you?
It was me. No, I apologize. But we have the DeMar situation that didn't allow us to finish the game last season. I'm sorry, with the issues that happened to DeMar Hamlin. Now you go back to Cincinnati. DeMar comes back as well, and this is going to be a great atmosphere that we're going to step foot in. And I want to say, first of all, before I get into anything else on the Cincinnati Bengals, before I get into it, a ton of respect for the Cincinnati fans for how classy they were, especially with the situation that happened to DeMar, sending money to DeMar's foundation. I think it was over $7 million that was raised for the Chasing Dimes Foundation, which is incredible. And not only that, but the amount of people that just sent Bills Mafia, nice messages as well. I got a ton of messages in my DMs from guys that just said, praying for you guys and everything. And T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and the rest of the team being as classy as they were after that game, it just makes it even more incredible. And this is going to be a great atmosphere to see. And I can't wait for the standing ovation that DeMar is going to get. But I just want to know your thoughts. First of all, do you think DeMar is going to be active for this game?
I don't think he'll be active. He hasn't really been active most of the season. I think he was active 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think he will be. You got to play the numbers. And right now we're pretty deep at the safety position. Everybody's healthy. I just don't see him being out there, and especially if they make Norman active due to special teams, though Hamlin does play special teams. I would be surprised, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe they make them active because it's a place where that happened, and they and it would be a good moment, and I'm sure the fans would stand up and cheer when if he is active out there, and the moment they see him run out in the field in his uniform. But I just have a feeling he won't be, but we'll see. But you're right, man. Cincinnati, Buffalo and Cincinnati have like a history, man. We like a lot of things going on there. So
yeah,
with them helping us out in 2017 to get in the playoffs, to break that drought, and then us donating to their foundation because of that, and then the whole DeMar thing, and I got nothing but respect for them and their fan base, and really just everything, with Cincinnati. So. But yeah, man, it's gonna be electric there. Sunday Night Football, and I gotta say, man, last year, regardless of, I really believe they had our number last year. I think if that game went on, that didn't happen. I just felt like they were a better team. I felt like they had the script against us. Put it that way. We didn't have an answer, and we didn't have an answer in the playoffs. So they did what they wanted on the first series and a half, basically, against us until that happened to DeMar. And then they just continued it. They continued on in the playoffs against us where they left off, which was easy drives, chewing our zone defense apart. And we just got outbeat, outclassed, everything, outcoached. But hopefully this time around, it's a little different. We're healthier. Now, some guys are out, but we are healthier on the defensive line now. Like we got additions. We got a guy to fill in now for Trey, because remember last year Trey wasn't really right, and now we got Rasul. So, hopefully he could be better. And then on offensive side of things, Josh Allen isn't dealing with the UCL. He's dealing with this sprained shoulder, but that's a little bit different than UCL. And we have a better offensive line than we did last year. So there is some things going into that. And then also the biggest factor for me is coaching. So Sean McDermott now is defensive coordinator, right? Leslie Frazier was DC with the whole 13 seconds, with the whole debacle of the last year's playoffs against Cincinnati, where he just doesn't change his game plan. He's his own defense, soft zone. He sticks with it. He didn't do any in-game adjustments. Sean McDermott is a little bit more aggressive. He's going to show more pressure, especially in the blitz against Burrow. We didn't really do that. We didn't play them like that. We played them very soft. So I could definitely see this game being a lot different than the last game due to pressure. So expect Burrow to be under a lot of pressure, and that's where he tends to make a lot of mistakes. If you look at earlier in the season, ton of interceptions. Like he was just not playing right, not looking right, trying to get the ball out quickly because of the pressure. So I can see Buffalo getting the pressure. If they don't, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a long night for Buffalo. You cannot let Burrow sit back there and pick you apart. You cannot let him have all the time in the world. But yeah, what's going on, Beth? But yeah, man, I will say this though. What we did last week with putting Poyer in the box was brilliant by Sean McDermott. Really, yeah. I see John mentioning it. I thought that was brilliant. And listen, you're also going to see Taylor Rapp possibly go in the box, which he did plenty in Los Angeles. And that right there will help us out in passing situations because Dotson is just not very good at pass coverage. That's not what he does best. And that's what Matt Milano did great. He was a great outside linebacker. It's someone you just can't replace. So right now, I think Sean McDermott is doing all he can to fill that void. And let's just hope Matt Milano can come back at the end of the season in time for the playoffs, man. And then we'll be right on track, minus. And by the way, too, Daquan Jones, very possible. He also can return for the playoffs. So we could possibly, guys, get almost everyone back except for Trey White. And we kind of got us filling with Russell. Right. So we'll be okay. We just got to really manage these games coming up. And by the way, Von Miller also has been playing better and better as the season goes on since he's returned.
Right.
You saw last week his bend was a little bit better. His speed was a little better. He was just there, just so close to getting a sack, on Mayfield. So expect to see him a little bit more ramped up, a little bit more snap count as well.
Yeah, I was going to get into that. The one player that you didn't mention that you talked about the differences between last year and this year going against the Bengals. You have a one tech that's going to be coming in that can take the middle of the field. If Linval Joseph plays, that's going to fill an immediate need for the Bills. We didn't have one tech last year in Daquan Jones. Correct. This fills one of the needs. You have Von Miller that's going to be the pass rusher that's going to come in. Greg Rousseau now can take a little bit of a I wouldn't say a breather necessarily, but he can be the guy that can be the second option and even have a rotational piece in AJ Epinesa. Now you have three pass rushers that are going to do the job, along with Leonard Floyd that I haven't even mentioned yet.
Right.
4 guys that can come in and get to the quarterback. Now, the biggest thing with Joe Burrow that we have to talk about, and Tommy, I'm going to probably contradict what you're going to say. I know you talked about getting a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow, but we're going to have to do it with our front 4. And that's going to be the key for beating Joe Burrow, because you have to drop 7 in coverage when you have guys like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, as well as Tyler Boyd. You're going to have to fill those gaps. And you also have to look out for Joe Mixon too. So Joe Mixon, not only in the run game, but also Joe Mixon in the passing game. He's going to make a big impact out there as well. So it's going to have to come down to the front 4. And Joe Burrow does such a great job against the blitz when he is making passes. So you're going to have to do a good job with the front 4, getting out there and getting to the quarterback. And I love the front 4 that we have right now, with whether it's going to be hopefully Von Miller, Linval Joseph, Ed Oliver, and Greg Rousseau. But you can mix guys in, and now you have the ability to put in guys like Puna Ford as a rotational piece, and Jordan Phillips, as a 3 tech now instead of the 1 tech that he was playing, where he's going to be more comfortable in that 3 tech position, along with Tim Settle that's comfortable in the 3 tech rather than the 1 tech. You fill it in with the 1 tech position in Linval Joseph being the guy that's going to fill that position, and now you don't have to play people out of where they're comfortable at. And now Jordan Phillips can be the guy that's going to be the pass rusher rather than the guy that's going to have to take on double teams. And I swear I think that he's been struggling is because he's had to take on a role that he's not really comfortable with. So you add all these rotational pieces, and I'm not going to be surprised if we get 3 or 4, possibly even 5 sacks in this game with a banged up offensive line in the Cincinnati Bengals as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. Listen, the front 4, they're going to have to do their job. They're going to have to win in the trenches. But don't forget that Greg Rousseau lined up as DT as well last week, and they were also testing him in a preseason with that, and he actually did a really good job. So we can mix it up, and that's what's good. And I kept saying that when Von Miller returns, when I was saying this early in the season, McDermott is going to really have fun with this defense, shifting players around in different slots. And you're going to see like packages where Von's out there with Rousseau and Floyd, because they're going to have Rousseau lined up as DT. So I would think they may do that in this game. You might see Rousseau at times go to DT and Floyd on the edge with Miller, just to get that extra pass rush. But yeah, man, They got to do their job. I am curious about what they do with Joseph. If he starts right away, he said he's game. He's ready to go. Matter of fact, in Philly, I believe he did play right away with there as well. And same with Rasul. Rasul, I believe he could come in fill in right away as well because he played that zone defense. So you may see them in there. I just don't know about their snap count. I think they're going to probably see how the game goes with them. Listen, don't take them out if they're doing their job, right? Like don't just take them out because you feel like you need a. This is the snap count, and this is what we're going to do. Like they're not injured. These guys are just coming off from a different team or a guy that's been sitting on the couch. But he says he's ready. He's ready. I would definitely fill him in because right now the one thing our weakness has been is stopping the run, man. These gaping holes, man, it's killing us. So get a guy like Joseph in there to eat that up. Man, I'm telling you, man, this defense could do some damage.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the one thing that we've struggled with is the middle of the field in the run game, and 5, 6, 7. I've seen, long runs that, at times I'm going, son of a bleep, you know what the word is going to be, that you're going, this is going to be a long day. I cannot wait for this game to be over because I want to know who's going to win it. That's all I want, but I just want them to figure out that run game and to be able to stop the run. Now you have Linval Joseph that's going to fill that role, and it's going to make it so much easier. But Tommy, I was going to get into the next segment, which is going to be the key matchups for the Buffalo Bills. And I'm going to start with the offensive side for the Cincinnati Bengals. What key player are you focusing on for the Bills to be able to stop him? And I know you're probably going to call out the guy that I'm going to think of, but I'll let you go first. What's your key matchup for the Buffalo Bills in this matchup against the Bengals?
I'm going to go with just the main guy. I'm going to go Burrow. Listen, he's the captain. He's the guy that makes that team go. If he has a poor game, the Bengals don't play good. That's just a fact. Those are facts. So get after Burrow, get that front four going, get in his face. Even if you don't get the sack, pressure enough will cause turnovers or mistakes or just throwaways. So that's what I want to see. Pressure. Put your hands up, bat the passes down. AJ Epinesa has been doing a great job at that, by the way, batting passes down. That's what I want to see. So that would be my main. And if I had a second to choose on offense, I would say Mixon, because of how our run defense has been. You take Mixon out of this game, then you know what's up. It's going to be a passing show by the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's where McDermott can really start to get exotic with the defense and really just cover that look. So I would say Burrow is the most important because I think if he plays bad, that Bengals team, they just can't lean on Mixon to lead the way to victory. I don't think their defense either can lead that team to a victory. You know what I mean? So they're not like the Jets defense where they're just going to dominate and just, you don't need much by the offense. Like that's not how the Bengals are built. So you stop Burrow, you win the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And another thing that Alpha Rob is mentioning as well is I can't wait to see how the McDermott stops the Cincinnati Bengals wide receivers. That's another important key for me. The number one player that I'm watching out for is Jamar Chase. I think that the Bills are going to have to double team, possibly even triple team him on certain plays. But I want to see who's going to cover Jamar, whether it's going to be Dane Jackson or is it going to be Christian Benford, maybe even Rasul Douglas, but I don't think you should put that much on him right away. I think it's going to have to be probably Christian Benford covering him in this game. And you're going to have to be handsy with him at the line of scrimmage and try and play some press man against him, as well as press him in zone coverage as well, with possibly even Jordan Poyer coming over the top to cover him. But this Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver room is deeper than most people think. You think of the top three in Boyd, Higgins, and Chase. You also add in Andre Iosivas, who came from Princeton, another big name wide receiver who's the the bigger of the bunch, I would call him the red zone threat for them. And then you add in Trenton Irwin as well, who's more of a gadget type of guy. And now you have 5 wide receivers deep. And if they run 5 wide receiver sets, that's going to be even harder for the Bills to cover. But I can't believe this is going to be the game. And we have the owner of Nickel City Mafia coming in Bills Mafia CA, tuning in saying, wow, can't believe you brought in the big guns tonight. We planned this all along. I secretly had Tommy in the green room just ready to go. I didn't want to mention who it was going to be, Mike. You know, it was probably going to have to be a big name coming in. I had to bring in the best of the best. I think he's better than Buffalo Fanatics, in my opinion. I'm just going to say that now. Got to give him a little bit of a shout out because if you are new to Nickel City Mafia, you haven't checked out Mafia Sports Report, Tommy is the man. He runs the whole entire thing there, makes it happen. He's a guy that keeps the cylinders firing for the team and makes it all go around. So
thank you, sir.
Just want to give him a little shout out as well. So if you're new, I know you're on YouTube. I'm trying to think. You're on Twitter as well, but you're not on Instagram.
Yeah. No. I'm not hip like that yet. I'm on Twitter, Tommy Talks Bills, and YouTube, Mafia Sports Report. Man, I appreciate the compliment, man. I'm trying to get there, but I gotta say though, we got a lot of great channels out there that cover the Buffalo Bills. Nickel City Mafia, obviously, Red, White, and Bills with Sean over there. Just a ton, man. Cover One, hashtag sports. Just a lot of good dudes that have been doing this a while. And I became friends with a lot of these people. So, Mike obviously became a friend that runs Nickel City Mafia, and man, it's awesome, man. It's awesome that we all can come together like this and do shows like this. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Well, anytime, man. Not done yet though, because we're still gonna keep it rolling. I want to keep it firing and everything.
Let's do it.
We can't get the show too short. That's the biggest thing. But wanted to say though, this is the first time
I do 6-hour podcast.
Hey, listen, we can go 6 hours if you want to. I mean, it's only what? It's 9:15 right now. We can go another 5 hours, 2 in the morning. That's fine with me. I can make it happen for you. I need some Mountain Dew and maybe some Adderall or something like that to keep it rolling. But we can keep it going. As far as I'm concerned, that won't bother me whatsoever. But this is the first time I've actually ever talked to you, Tommy, on here. And man, you make this thing so much fun. I got to tell you, it makes it so much easier having a counterpart on here as well. But let's get to the defense of the Buffalo Bills. And I want to know.
Oh, real quick, I do want to cut you off. Sorry, you mentioned Jamar Chase, and I know that was the key, and 100%. Like their receiver core is deep, like no doubt about it. But I will say this: last week's performance with Benford against Evans was, man, don't overlook that. I thought Benford was probably his best game.
Yeah.
As a Buffalo Bill, I thought he did a hell of a job. Even the touchdown late by Mike Evans, he almost got that ball away.
Yeah.
So he was doing a really, really good job. Matter of fact, that play should have never even happened if it wasn't for Jordan Phillips' face mask. So he did a really, really good job against one of the better receivers in the game. So I'm not overly concerned going into this game against Chase and Higgins. But listen, I do think it will come down to is Douglas playing? If Douglas plays, I'm very curious where they have him line up. Do they have him line up against Chase, Boyd, Higgins? Like, where are they comfortable with him right away? Because listen, this isn't a case of like guy's been sitting on the couch, right? And you're like, all right, or he's coming off injury, and you're like, hey, we want to limit him on a snap count, blah blah blah. This guy's been playing all season, guys. Like this guy's been a ball hawk. He's good. Like he's good to go. There's no physical wise that he can't play. It's all about like scheme, right? Like, can he get up to date with Sean McDermott's defense? But he's played this defense. Like this is what he does. He's his own defender. So I think he can come in right away and play the number one. So just curious what Sean McDermott thinks about that, but you may see him play one-on-one versus Chase, Sunday night. So just throwing that out there. Don't be shocked. Now, I would say on Joseph, he's been out, right? He's not probably in NFL game shape, they say. So that might be more of a limited basis or maybe not even play. I think that's going to be maybe almost a game time decision almost, right? Like what McDermott wants to do with him. But I definitely think Douglas can get in there and go right away. I just do. I think sitting him might be a mistake, to be honest with you, because he hasn't stopped playing football all season. He's week after week after week. You sit him now, like then he's, I don't like that. Like just let go, throw him in there. If he's doing bad or he's not understanding the plays or he seems like he's not really getting it, fine. Who cares? And then you put Dane in. Not a big deal. But like I would definitely throw him out there. He's had practice all week. And let's roll with it, man. You made the trade for a reason. There's no reason to sit the guy. Like let's go. Let's bring him in.
I agree. And even with the play of Taron Johnson lately, I always say Taron Johnson's taking a little bit of a step back. And you could put Rasul Douglas in at the slot cornerback position just to give him a little bit of a feeler for how the offense is going to be. Put him up against a guy like Tyler Boyd, where the matchup is not too much, and you can have him play that slot cornerback position and have Benford cover Chase and have Jackson cover Higgins. I think that's the best matchup for me of how I would decide how the Bills are going to play this week. You can take Taron Johnson out a little bit, or maybe even mix in Douglas and Johnson at the same time, just to get Douglas acclimated to how the offense runs. But you're going to have to put Douglas out there on the field at least a little bit to see what he has. Because
even though Teron's been struggling, you can't take Teron out. I think Teron is too. You need Teron. Like I get where you're going. He's had a tough couple weeks, no doubt about it. But listen, man, there's a reason why he plays. What does they say? 90% of the snaps. Like that dude's in there for a reason. He's one of the best in the league. You can't take him out. I think if you're gonna play Douglas, you go ahead and put him in that CB1 role. I mean, if you don't want to put in a CB1 role right away, go ahead and line him up CB2. And you make Benford the CB1 for week one for this week. Let's say it's week 1 of Douglas. And then I think the following week, once Douglas gets the playbook down totally, then you go ahead and switch that up. But no, I would definitely not. I wouldn't do that. I think I feel more comfortable with just keeping Teron in there. Teron's too valuable, and he knows his defense too good, like the back of his hand. So, like I said, he's had a rough couple games, but I also feel like that's a little bit on McDermott as well. You got him lined up against Mike Gesicki. The goal line situation is just dumb.
That's not a situation where he should be.
Yeah, it wasn't a good defensive scheme right there for him. But that's okay. I mean, things happen like that. It is what it is. But yeah, he'll bounce back. That's one thing about Teron. He'll bounce back. And it start. What I feel about this game, man. This is it. I think this is it. This is a game where we need to turn it around right now. Like this is the game. This is the team to do it against.
Right.
Sunday Night Football, we have to look better on both sides of the ball, especially offense. Like this is it. If we come out bad, sloppy first half, offense just sluggish. I don't know what to say moving forward because this is the beginning of a tough slot of games, man, coming up. Slate of games coming up, and if we can't get it done against Cincy, and by the way, I'm not bashing Cincy, but they're not better than some of the teams we have coming up. They're a good team. Right. Don't get me wrong; they won 3 in a row, but they're not better than the Eagles right now. They're not better than the Chiefs right now. Okay, so we have to win here. We have to. And if we do, then if we do, it's a confidence builder. Everything across the board. Yeah. And then we know we're getting our shit right, and then we can get back on track. And by the way, we've done this in the past, so this is nothing new. And I keep telling Bills Mafia, we've been down this road before. I know a lot of people stress about this team, when things don't go right. But the one thing I could tell you is go back the last 3 seasons, and we've all been down this road before. There's, if you go back in time, Bills Mafia was freaking out, right? Oh my God, it's 2 in a row, or, we're in second place. Like, and then we wind up going 13-3, or we wind up winning the division by 2 games or 3 games.
Right.
Like, we've been down this road before. This team is a veteran team, veteran coaching staff. I'm really, honestly, guys, I'm not super concerned about the regular season. It's the playoffs that bother me, that worry me. So this part here, I think we'll figure it out, but it does start Sunday night.
I completely agree with what you're saying. Okay. I think the turnaround starts Sunday night. You got to remember who we have coming up too. You have the Cincinnati Bengals, who, of the teams that are considered what we think of Super Bowl caliber teams, they're the one that struggled the most this season, in my opinion, of the teams that we could beat. So you have the Cincinnati Bengals. I wouldn't be surprised if of the teams that are the elites that we have coming up, the Philadelphia Eagles are another team that's been struggling a little bit as well. They've been keeping opponents in games a lot more. Then you have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys, who are more of the elite teams, in my opinion. So we're going to have to split the series in terms of the Super Bowl caliber teams. So you might lose to the Dallas Cowboys, you might lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, but you can go on a roll right here in terms of the teams that we're going to be playing in the Cincinnati Bengals. Then you have the Broncos and the Jets coming up. And then you're sitting at 8-3. You lose a game to the Eagles. Okay, not too bad, but I think that that's still a situation where we can compete and stay in the game quite a bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if we won it. I really wouldn't, because the Philadelphia Eagles are not playing their best football right now. Yes, they got Byard, who's an incredible safety, but they're not playing the best. They've lost a couple of games. In Kansas City, they have the weapons. They have Travis Kelce, but they're starting to come alive a little bit more. But they don't have the wide receivers that we fear, like Tyreek Hill and other weapons that they've had in the past. So that's not a matchup that I'm extremely worried about necessarily. Yes, they have Patrick Mahomes, who's an incredible talent, but that's still a matchup that I think we can go toe-to-toe with them. And then the Dallas Cowboys, yes, they have an incredible defense. I can't wait for that matchup, but I think we can stop their offense as well. Their offense has been coming alive with CeeDee Lamb. They're starting to get him the ball quite a bit more. But those are matchups that I think of the ones that we could lose. Probably the Dallas one is the one that we might have a fourth loss in there. But the other games that we have coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if we won every game but the Dallas game, in my opinion. And that's 4 losses. That still puts us in a really good spot at 13-4. I think we could easily 100%. Go that way. We're probably going to be 13-4 if we would have not played if we would have finished the Cincinnati game. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I think all of our games right now, every single game we've played so far, we've been in, right? There's not been a game that that we can look back and go, man, did we get dominated, right? Go back, look at all these other teams, right? You got the Dolphins, right? I'll start with them. They've played, really, let's be real, they played 2 good teams up to date, okay? Both blowouts. They got blown the fuck out by us, and they got blown out by Philadelphia.
Right.
You go look at the Chiefs. They haven't been so hot, right? They lost the Detroit Lions opening night. There's a lot of games here, by a lot of good teams that have shit the bed, right? So the one thing about the Bills is we're going to be in every game. I feel like there's always an opportunity. It's the offense right now that needs to wake up for this Bills team, because I think all these games we lost because of the offensive side of the ball for the most part. Now, I will say that last week's game against the Patriots, I was disappointed with Sean McDermott. I was disappointed with the defense because Yes, the offense didn't come out firing on all cylinders, but let's be real. If your offense gives you a chance, gets you that lead, it's up to you to close the show. And
Yeah.
Sean McDermott, once again, when the pressure was on, he wet the bed, and so did this defense. And you cannot let that happen against better opponents like the Bengals, like the Chiefs, like the Eagles. We're not going to always be hot on offense, right? But if the team gives you an opportunity and you got the lead and you got a defensive head coach, then you need to close the show. And I feel like Sean McDermott too many times has not closed the show in a very important game. So that's something that he's going to have to get better at moving forward. But I would say, right now the offense needs to get going.
Yeah.
Find their mojo. If they could find their mojo, then the rest of the season, I think they're all winnable games. Because I said, to my point was, even the games we lost, we were in every single one.
Yeah.
If the offense finds their way, then it's a totally different story. We can win the rest of the games going throughout the regular season and possibly win the AFC East, which I think we can. A very important weekend, by the way, this weekend. So if the Chiefs win and we win, we're back at first, just like that, guys, just like that. So, it is an important game, a very important game. This game for a lot of reasons. You don't want to find yourself in third, by the way, because the Jets win and we lose, and the Dolphins, man, it's not. I told you guys, then it's going to be a long rest of the season if this offense is coming out flat. So we need to see more, and it starts Sunday night. We have to see more.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, this is going to be a game where not only we have the 9:30 game tomorrow in Germany, which is going to be an incredible game between the Chiefs. Hopefully they can pull it off, and the Dolphins, who, obviously we're going to be rooting against. But you also have this matchup where the Bills can take first place. Then in a couple of weeks, the Bills can get right back into the home field advantage consideration if we beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah,
which would be a game that, I think we can obviously find a way to win. So it depends on whether Taylor Swift is going to be at that game, which you never know. Hopefully she's.
I mean, the Chiefs' offense hasn't been dominating this season.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I think, I'm not sure where they rank right now, but they haven't clicked on all cylinders, right? They have issues. They have issues at receiver. Obviously, they still got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They got the best tight end in the league. But they're not so hot right now either. They're a team that could be beaten, as you saw. They've been beaten a couple times this season. So, like I said, man, it all starts for me. It all starts Sunday night. If we lose, it's going to be rough. I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't want to be like that guy, but you can't. You got it. This is a game where you have to show out. You have to. For a lot of reasons, it's going to be so depleting for this team if they lose against the Bengals again.
Right,
just not good. It wouldn't be a good look.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. So I want to get into the keys to the game for the Bills. We'll start with their offense. I think obviously we've gotten into the one that we agree with is the fast start for the Bills on offense. But what are your other keys to the game for the Bills on offense?
Okay, so how I want to see this offense start out. One, let's go up tempo. And I've been saying that since week, I think 3, when me and my co-host Mikey, I think the offense rolls better when it's more up tempo. I think Josh gets into more of a groove when it's up tempo. I also want to see Josh be Josh, right? Let the handcuffs off Josh a little bit, man. Like what you saw so far this season has been Josh just kind of hesitant, kind of not wanting to take too many chances, and that's not what Josh's game is about, right? I'm not saying we need Josh to be crazy and just turn the ball over, but listen, we need Josh to take some more chances.
Yeah.
Run the ball a little bit more too. And I'm not saying design runs all over the place, right, but it does get him going, gets his blood flowing. Like it gets the team kind of hyped up too when he does take off here and there. I want to see more of that, but be careful with it. But yeah, up tempo. I love that he's starting Murray out. If you notice the last 2 weeks or 3 games, actually, Murray's been the lead back to start the opening series. The only thing I don't like about it is they're not running him. It kind of makes no sense to have him out there. For me, I love the fact that he's out there, but run the ball with him. Even if it's a 2-yard gain, 3, 4, whatever, it's going to break down that defensive line, right? It's gonna just chip away. Then you sprinkle in Cook, who can run. You know, he's the guy with the speed, right? He can now he's going against a defensive line that's a little bit banged up, a little bit tired. That's what I want to see. Stop going shotgun draw so much, right? We keep saying that over and over and over. There's no reason to do a shotgun draw on 3rd and 1.
Let me stop you there though for a second.
Yeah.
The shotgun run has actually been working more than people think. Because
he's using different exotics on a shotgun run, though. He's using different elements to it, which is fine, but not on a 3rd and 1. See, I get the philosophy behind it. I understand Ken Dorsey's thinking behind it, and what you're probably going to say is, I get that. Like on a 2nd down, you're doing or a 3rd down, or a 2nd down, you're long or short yardage. The defense is going to think you're going to run there, and you want to do a shotgun draw. Because the defense is guessing you're going to run on. I get that. I understand that, and that's fine with me in a way. But if you're on a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, there's no reason to be in a shotgun draw. Like, especially if you're going to run it. Now, if you're not going to run it and you're going to shotgun, that's fine. I have no problem. I think Josh Allen is more comfortable in shotgun passing. I'm good with that. But under center, if you look at Josh Allen's stats, he is so much better under center when handing the ball off and in play action. When you do a shotgun play action, defenses are seeing the whole thing break down. They're watching it. They're not fooled by it. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to take the shotgun draw totally out of the playbook, but you got to know when to do it. And it cost us 7 points last week. Right? It was a 3rd and 1. Come on now. Josh Allen can get there on a quarterback sneak. It's there all game. There's no reason to do that. And it cost us 7 points, like I said. So you can't leave points off the board. And that's just and by the way, too, you can't stop drives by something so stupid as a 3rd and 1, and you do a shotgun draw and lose yards. It's right there for a Josh Allen sneak all day. I'll take it all day on 1 yard. He can pick it up. It just kind of mind-boggling when Ken Dorsey goes back to something that just doesn't work. But I understand what you're saying. Sometimes the shotgun draws, and lately he has made them more exotic. He's kind of changing them up more like a not so just up the middle. He's doing more to the shotgun draw, to the counter. Like, I get it, but I think he needs to limit it. It down.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I still think that the run game in the shotgun is working a little bit. Maybe mix it up a little bit more with like RPOs and stuff like that. That would be a great option to see. I would love to see more of the quick passes to bigs.
What are you not seeing this season that you saw last season? I didn't mean to cut you off, but what is the Bills' offense taking away? Right, that we were good at when we had. I'm gonna throw a name out there, and it's not like this guy was excellent, but he was good. I thought he was pretty good on this offense. Isaiah McKenzie. We have a guy that we brung in, and Deontay Hardy, who's probably faster, who's a better route runner, and we have yet to do a jet sweep with him. We have yet to do a pop pass to him. We have taken plays out of this playbook that is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the guys on the team to do it. And that is running the ball, by the way. That's the only reason I'm talking about, because we're talking about running the ball. That's a guy who can get around the edge on a jet sweep and pick up easily, 4 or 5, maybe 10, maybe take it to the house. He's that kind of player. He has that kind of speed. Yet we don't do it. It's like we scratched it out of the playbook. I can't stand some of the things that we're doing on offense when they've worked in the past. And that's why I go back to Sean McDermott. And I really wonder if, him and Ken Dorsey had this talk where he wants this offense a certain way, and he wants to go old school and do it his way. And that's why you're kind of seeing Josh Allen run less. That's why you're kind of seeing, just kind of very basic football. You're not name the last trick play that we did. I couldn't tell you. And I'm not saying trick plays, you have to do them all the time, but we don't do them ever.
Right.
It's like, you're going to tell me we don't have them in our bag? There's no way. There has to be in the bag. But it's like, I feel like Sean McDermott just wants to be conservative this year. That's what he told Ken Dorsey. He wants Allen to be conservative, take what the defense is giving you only, don't run. And you kind of see the offense just not having fun and Allen just not being Allen. And I kind of feel like last week, because of our offense have been struggling, I almost feel like Sean McDermott almost said, you know what? Go ahead. Let Josh kind of just do his thing. Go ahead and let him run him. Do this. Let him. And once we get that Josh back, I'm telling you, this offense will start. And I also, by the way, to the 12 personnel, I thought it was pushed. It was pushed too hard and it didn't work. And that kind of slowed us down too. I don't think we're a 12 personnel team right now. 11 personnel is what we are. We have the receivers to do it. But, if I could say one thing, Ken Dorsey needs to figure out his player strengths. And I keep saying, I said it all season. You got to know what Deontay Hardy does well, right? You got to know what Khalil Shakir does well. You got to know what Sherfield does well, who has been a non-factor in this offense. Clearly you know what Stephon Diggs does. You know what Gabe Davis does. Both those guys seem to be involved, but it seems like he doesn't really understand the rest of the team's strengths or weaknesses. Dalton Kincaid is such a good route runner, had a big route tree in Utah, and for the first 4 games, we don't give him that route tree. We give him an underneath short yardage route tree. Made no sense to me when you got a guy with his hands that could catch pretty much any football thrown his way, and you limit him on the football field. So if you notice the last 2 weeks since Dawson Knox has been out, Dalton Kincaid starting to see a little bit better route trees thrown his way. He's going deep a little bit more. And that's a weapon we need. We need to use him more. So, yes, Dorsey has to start understanding his players. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And Jessica Tennis brings up a really good point. In my opinion, she thinks that the only trick play the Bills have done in the past 2 years was a Hardy touchdown pass, which, I completely agree with what she's saying there. I don't remember the last trick play that the Bills have done. Even a play where
Dable has been Dable.
Yeah.
Like
had been Dable. Remember the last time Josh Allen went out for a pass? I don't want to see him do it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see
that was Houston playoff game.
The Houston playoff game, something like that.
And then he got the I think it was it Cole Beasley or was it Cole Beasley to Devin Singletary? I believe that was a touchdown. I think it was him, or it was John Brown to Singletary.
Yeah.
For a touchdown. Like I said, we don't have to do it all the time, but my God, it's okay to throw in a trick play here and there. Like teams do it all the time. Look at the teams across the league. They're throwing trick plays out here and there. It just seems like we're just running. Like I said, I think McDermott's philosophy was just to let's be really good at the basic plays. Let's be excellent at this conservative play. And that's just not that's not what we are. We're a fun offensive team with a lot of different weapons that can do a lot of different things. And I feel like he's holding this team back by playing that conservative offense. And if you look at that Tampa game, I thought the offense looked really good first half, 17 points, right? Upbeat, up tempo. You come out in the second half, we score first series, right? Up tempo, right? And in classic McDermott fashion, he takes his foot off the pedal and goes, now we're going to ease up. I don't want no mistakes. And now we're going to do this. And what happens? The defense plays, by the way, lights out for 3.5 quarters, pretty much. But the defense is going to get tired now, right? They're all that. And then slowly but surely, it's only a 2-score game. And before you know it, boom, they're right back in the game.
Right.
So it's like, you can't do that. You got to let this offense cook. Don't be conservative. Keep your foot on the pedal. Go. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. McDermott has to stop that philosophy of, I don't want no big plays. Got to be careful. Yeah, it's like, dude, just play football. Play how we've been playing. We'll be fine, bro. Don't clam up. Don't shell up.
Yeah.
And man, it drives me nuts. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, one thing I was thinking of is a double pass type of play where you have you throw it to Diggs screen. A lot of screens either. That's another thing I haven't seen. You have one of the better blockers on the team in Trent Sherfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I've seen him used quite a bit. But why not a trick play where you do a bubble screen to Deontay Hardy, who's your fastest player on the team, and you have Sherfield out there blocking? Or why not a screen to even Stephon Diggs? I haven't seen a lot of that. When you have Gabe Davis, who's another great blocker. So
right,
where are those plays? I haven't seen those in a long time. I remember the Cole Beasley bubble screen type of plays that you run, or even a screenplay to the running backs. That's been missing a little bit too. Now I don't
even a wildcat, which is not even like craziness, but those are effective. Believe it or not, at times they'll always get you. For the most part, they'll get you 2-3 yards, 4 yards. Like wildcat is an effective play that I would run more often than not. Like it's just not. We just don't do it. By the way, screen passes, we're terrible. We never do them.
Yeah.
Like I don't get it since I'm talking about since McDermott's been here. We just don't, even when Dable was here. So I don't want to hear Dable is this great offensive genius coach. We didn't do those. We didn't do them well then. We don't do them well now. Like, and it's crazy to me. Screen pass has been around forever. Like we just can't figure it out. I don't get it, man. I like certain things I don't understand either. And we just don't run them, man. But you're right. Like wide receiver screen. Now I will say this, like we were doing that early on with Hardy, the wide receiver screen, and I hated it. It didn't work. Defenses were sniffing it out.
It was the situation that we were putting ourselves in.
Right. But I will say this though. Go back to the Dolphin game. We had a fake wide receiver to Hardy, a screen pass, and we went deep and we had the touchdown. I believe it was it Gabe Davis on that one? Where it was the pump fake screen pass, the fake screen pass to Hardy. The defense bit because they know it's coming. We've been doing it ever. That's the only Hardy play that we designed. If you really think about it, outside the deep pass he had against Jacksonville, it's really the only thing we've done with Hardy was wide receiver screen passes, and defenses are sniffing it out. So if we can at least maybe now start dialing it up and mixing it up with Hardy, defenses might be like, oh shit, like I didn't know Hardy could do that. You know what I mean? Like we have to get him more involved. Like we signed him 2 years. It's not like he's a cheap player, by the way, guys. We gave him good money. Like start using him.
Maybe even in a Deebo Samuel type of role where you remember Deebo didn't really have a great year until the San Francisco 49ers were moving him around. They put him in at running back too. Yeah. Why not put him in at running back in situations just to throw the defense off where maybe we're going to run the ball with Deontay Hardy. He's a small guy, gadget type of guy. You can use him kind of like a running back. And yes, he can't break tackles and everything, but he's freaking fast. I'm going to say that right now.
I'll tell you, to that point, we did do that a few times this season where we had Sherfield in the backfield once, and we didn't run with him, but we wound up getting a first down with him. So we had him in the backfield, and then he got out of the backfield for a pass and it was like 5-6 yards. It worked. We had Stephon Diggs back there once too. But I agree, like little stuff like that throws defenses off. They don't understand like what is going on here. Like what do they got up their sleeve? Why is Stephon Diggs in the backfield? So like little things like that confuse defenses, and that's what I like to see more, or I want to see more of moving forward. There's no way I can't believe that like Ken Dorsey wouldn't have more in his arsenal. Like I don't believe that. Like he is a smart dude, man. Like for as much as I think he's stubborn and shotgun draws, like he's a smart guy. There has to be more than what we're seeing from Ken Dorsey. And if there's not, it's either two things. Either Sean McDermott is holding him back, or he's just not a very good OZ. I mean, there's only two other ways around it, right? So I don't know, man. For a guy that every team wanted to hire at one point, not every team, but a lot of teams wanted Ken Dorsey. It wasn't like Ken Dorsey was, not wanted. Some teams wanted him to be their head coach or interview.
Right.
He's a smart guy. People know what Ken Dorsey is a smart dude. So that's why I'm just baffled by this very generic, very conservative offensive game plan that we have in, week out from a former quarterback who came from the Miami Hurricanes, who was one of the best college football teams of all time, who was flashy on offense. You're going to tell me this is what we get? I just can't. I don't believe it. Like I that's why I keep going back to McDermott. I just feel like he's the one that has this stamp all over it, man. And until he lets this offense just do them, cook, you be them, this offense is going to struggle. And if he just lets Ken Dorsey coach, and then I think you'll see a better offense. I really do. That's my opinion. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And Jessica Tennis brought up a really good point here where she's saying Dorsey has had 10 days to work on 11 personnel and look at the plays that have worked against the Bengals. That's very well said. I think that this is going to be, one of the biggest things for the Bills is they've had time to rest a little bit too. They've had time for Josh Allen to get healthy, especially after that, short week that they had between the Bucs game as well as the Patriots game. That's going to make them so much better. You got a lot of rest. You can be healthy now. Now, do I think they're going to start off a little sluggish? No. I think they're going to be ready to freaking go. You add in guys like Leonard Fournette. You add in Linval Joseph. You add in Rasul Douglas, who are now going to be the leaders on the team. There's no excuse for why they're going to come out sloppy and be flat. And that's exactly what Bills fan CA is coming in as. No excuse for coming out flat. Completely agree. And it's going to be a situation where you have the leaders on your team now. And I think that that's one thing that the Bills were missing was that, especially with Matt Milano going out, who's going to bring the fire for the Buffalo Bills? You add in Josh Norman, who brings some fire. Now you add in Rasul Douglas, who's going to be a leader in the locker room. And now you have the right pieces in place to make the team even better. And I think that you're going to see somebody fire the hell out of the team. And I hope it's Josh Allen that does it, because now you need to see that guy that fires the bleep out of this team. And I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to try not to use this swear word today because I'm trying so hard to save it because I'm getting married in a couple weeks. I can't cuss, and I'm trying to cut my cuss words out. I've been told I have a little bit of a sailor's mouth, so I'm trying to cut the cuss words out. But forgive me, guys, if I do use one, but I'm going to try not to because I have 2 weeks to learn how to not cuss in front of my new in-laws because they don't love it. So you'll hear me try not to cuss. So you're going to hear bleeps instead for the next couple of weeks. And then after we get married, it's a different game. She can accept me for who I am. So that's how it's got to be. But you guys see this team fired up. That's the one thing I want to see. I want to see energy out of on the sideline. That's one thing we haven't seen a lot of. And we've seen guys like Sean mentions it quite a bit. You see guys with their head down and they're kind of like a little pouty and everything. No, we got to have some flipping energy. And that's the one thing I want to see from the Bills is some energy out there. And I want to see when they make a big play, celebrate, do it. Okay. When was the last time you saw an excessive celebration penalty called on the Bills? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it in a while. So I want to see some energy from the Bills. But let's get back into the keys to the game. We've talked about the offense a little bit. I want to talk about the defense for the Bills. Keys to the game. We talked about the run game a little bit. But what other keys to the game do you have, Tommy, for the Buffalo Bills?
Listen. My focus really is on offense, but on defensive side of the ball, I felt like, honestly, man, I criticized McDermott a lot here early on about the offense and all that, but I will give him his credit as well. I feel like for everything that's happened with his defense so far, I feel like he's done a very good job. I feel like he's gotten players for the most part to step up, fill that role. That's why every game we've been in, like there hasn't been a game that we've, the defense is just really shit the bed, right? Like they've been in the games for the most part. So I got to give him his credit where credit is due, right? He made the right decision with Terrell Bernard to start the season. I was like very worried at the middle linebacker position. I'm not going to lie. And he made the right decision. So that you got to give credit to McDermott for that one. And really just moving forward, man, I feel like most of the games, except for I will say that Patriots game, I was disappointed, but I feel like most of the games, man, the defense has done a good job considering everything that's going on. So for this game, defensively, like I said before, man, that front four has to put pressure on Joe Burrow. You have to get after him. You cannot let him sit in the pocket and do his thing. And stop the run. You stop the run, put pressure on Burrow. It's going to be a long night for the Cincinnati Bengals because they don't play well under pressure. You could put Burrow on his back. I want to see his jersey dirty, man. Like, you're not going to, like I said, things are going to get real ugly if we're playing a soft zone and we're not getting our front four home. It's going to be really bad, man. They're going to pick us apart, just like they did last year in the playoffs. So you don't want to see that. I need guys stepping up. Like I said, right now, I don't know if Douglas is playing. If he's not, I need Dane to play better. Dane has not played good. And I thought he had a good preseason, but he's not really showing it so far in the regular season. He's struggling. I want to see what I saw last week in Benford. I thought he thought he played a great game last week against Mike Evans. I want to see that Christian Benford this game. And then who else we got? And then Micah Hyde and Poyer. I want to see more Poyer in the box and with wraps. So I hope McDermott continues doing that. I want to see more of that. I like that. I thought it worked well. And like I said, I think you will see that. So just throw them some exotic looks Sunday night with the defense, like we've been doing. And I think we'll be okay on defense. I really do. And the offense, like I said, start fast, up tempo, and run the ball early with Murray or Fournette, depending. I don't know if Fournette's going to play, but chip away that defensive line and then get Cook going. The only thing, man, I got to say too, the only liability we have is Cook can't pass protect. And that's the only bad thing about Cook's game, man. I love him, but when he's out there, he's a liability, man, with pass protection. And that's why another reason I think why they brought in Fournette as well. It wasn't like he was unbelievable last year in running, but he had 1,200 all-purpose yards. He's a good running back. He can catch out the backfield. He can block. He can pass protect well. So you may see Fournette being used more and more as the season goes on. I don't know about tomorrow night, though. That's the only thing because he'll be limited.
He wasn't called up this week, so he's on the practice squad, so he wasn't called up. The only player that's what was Josh Norman.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So, and I'll tell you why, because it's going to take offensive side of things. It's going to be a little bit for him to get a hang of, and he also has not. He's not NFL ready yet. Like he's not NFL game shape. That is. So he might need another week to kind of just get that flow going again and get the playbook down. And by the way, he doesn't need to get the full playbook down. Like get him, get him into the basic part of the playbook, the running part, the part that he will be in. And then as the season goes on, he can learn more and more of the playbook. He doesn't need to know the full playbook. He's not going to probably see the field that often. You know what I mean? His snap count's going to probably be limited. So just get him the plays that we're going to probably use him for, let him learn that. And I think you'll wind up seeing Fournette in the next, I'd say a week. I would say he'll play next week. But I think, man, I really believe Douglas can go. I don't know about Joseph because he's been sitting out as well, but he says he's ready. So I do think you'll see Douglas. I really do.
Yeah. And Jessica Tennis brought up a good point that Benford was limited in practice on Friday. It was actually Friday, not Thursday, Jessica, with a hamstring injury, which is
soft
something
tissue.
that kind of concerns me, but I think it's just the Bills being a little cautious, and he'll be out there. But could the hamstring flare up a little bit? That's why you bring in a guy like Josh Norman to become the safe or security blanket. Is what I'm trying to think of for the Buffalo Bills. For me, though, in terms of the keys to the game, I mean, you hit the nail in the coffin with starting fast on offense, up tempo, but I also want to see the Bills be able to use Josh Allen's legs a little bit more. That's another area I want to see him just let him go. That's the biggest thing. Just take the reins off of him. Let Josh be Josh. That's the one area I want to see is Josh just be himself. And this is the game, you're going up against another heavyweight. I think of it as Frazier versus Tyson or many of the other matchups that you have in boxing. This is the boxing matchup right now. I'm going to say
Ali Frazier, you mean?
Ali
Yeah.
Frazier.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Ali Frazier. I said Tyson. I apologize, but
that's all right. Tyson Holyfield, even though Holyfield destroyed Tyson.
Hey, that's
but it was a good matchup.
Yeah, it's good matchups though. You can say a couple of other ones. Matchups that we didn't see, like Tyson and Ali go up against each other. That would be a hell of a matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, those matchups would be great. This is a matchup where you have the elite of the elite quarterbacks going up against each other.
Yeah.
Now you got to just take the reins off of Josh Allen. I say the training wheels that you have on him and just let him be himself. I want to see Josh go out there and just be himself, be able to have command of the playbook, do whatever he wants. And if it doesn't work out and he makes a mistake, F it. I'm going to say that right now. Let him be himself. If he makes an interception, okay, still, I want to see him go down the next drive, have the freedom to run the ball. Don't take the training bra and put it on him is what I'm going to call it, okay? Because I know I'm going to try to make you laugh on that. You go down the field on the first drive and the training wheels are off. You let Josh be himself, and then you put the training bra back on him, and now he's got to be this system quarterback that he has to be. He's not a system quarterback. He is Josh flipping Allen. And there's a t-shirt that I have in my closet that says Josh flipping Allen.
Right.
Okay. That's the quarterback that I want. And I want him to be himself. I want him to go out there and have the freedom to be able to do whatever he wants. So we have a troller in the channel in Jacob's channel.
He seems like he's being nice, though.
He's being nice. He's saying go Bengals. Sorry, Bills.
Yeah.
Good luck this week. Let us have the game.
Trust me, that's actually nice. I've had some terrible trolls. I got to say, the worst ones, speaking of trolls, that at least on my channel, I couldn't believe it. It was Viking fans. They were the absolute worst that I ever dealt with. And there's people from Minnesota are generally nice, but bro, I'm going to tell you, the absolute worst fan base, at least that I had to go through. And then I would say next would be, I would say Miami. Miami has some pretty rude fans, but yeah, man, I think for me, the Vikings took the cake for that.
I wouldn't say the Miami is up there that far. So for me, it goes Philadelphia, Raiders. I'd put the Vikings up there, obviously. I'm going to throw out a fan base that not a lot of people would agree with me on.
Well, I'm talking about just trolling in my chat. I'm not.
Oh, no. Trolling in the chat. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like my experience. Like,
oh, yeah.
The worst, like, ones that come on, like, when we lose against it's funny. We'll lose against a random team. Let's say we lose against, I don't know, the Giants, right? If we lost against the Giants. And we'll all have, like, Dolphin fans in there. Like, it makes no sense. Like, we didn't even play you guys. So, like, that's what I mean. Like, there's difference with Trump. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care I don't care if, like, you come in and say good game or, hey, man, we got you this time. But some of them are, like, just crazy, man.
Oh, yeah. Jets fans are bad. I'll tell you one story, okay? I'm going to throw it out there. I had these, like, 14-year-old kids. I mean, these kids were, like, just juveniles that, like, had nothing better. And they came in my chat. They got me in this, like, private chat with, like, all Bills fan, like, not even fans. It was, like, Bills accounts. And it was, like, this account that says, like, the Bills suck. And they were just, like, throwing all these things at us. Like, and then all these comments, they were literally going through, like, Google and, like, looking up each person, finding their address and everything.
Wow.
I had stuff sent to my house from these people.
Like, wow. See, I
had notes. I had notes coming to my house, and I'm not even lying to you when I say that.
That's wild.
There was notes, like, death threats and stuff like that. And I'm like, I go, what the F? This is bull.
That's wild.
I said, this is bull. I'm so upset about it happening. And then they also had these messages that were coming out and they would say, like, we want you dead, like we want you to, kill yourself and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, this should be shut down right away. But they're going to like every single Bills account. They're Jets fans just being stupid and everything. It was pretty crazy though, but they eventually did get shut down.
I've never had that.
Oh, it was bad.
I've never witnessed. I've never. I've had trolls, but I never had any like death threats or anything. That's wild, bro.
So you got Red, White, and Bills coming in. And Tommy, thank you so much for stepping in, brother. Love you guys. Just heading back from the wedding now. Have a great show. I didn't tell him that he was going to a wedding. I just said he was taking a bye week just because I think he's pulling a fast one. I think he's trying to request a trade, possibly over to Mafia Sports Report. That's what that's the latest insider report from Ian Rappaport. That's what I'm hearing. He's requesting a trade from me. He's
Nickel City. He's Nickel City for life. He told me so.
No, for sure.
Sean, yeah, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's a good dude. Go check his stuff out. By the way, he's doing a really good job he does the film study.
Yeah,
doing a good job with that, man. That's not easy. That's something I gotta say, I will not do. I will not touch. It's too much work.
I told him that.
Kudos to you, my friend. I can't do it. I won't do it.
So one of the things I told him, and for those of you that are watching, just bear with us when we say this, because it's a funny story. He was telling me about, I got these film studies and everything. I do like hours and hours of film study. I was wondering why like nobody watches it. And I go, okay, the reason why, and this is from somebody that has the experience of being on shows and being able to host shows, is that your show is too long because nobody wants to sit through after the game is ended and watch a whole entire film study of a game. You have to make it based off of the first half and second half. You're more likely to get some people that want to tune in a little bit of time. They're not going to watch the whole entire thing, most likely. And that's why you're not getting a lot of people on there. So I said, make it a part 1 and part 2. That makes it more fun for them. You can find that part of the game where you're like, hey, I want to look at that part of the game, like that play where, Josh Allen hurdled
touchdown
over
drive
Anthony,
or something.
Yeah,
right.
He hurdled over Anthony Barr. I want to find that play. And I want to be able to remember that play. Or I want to remember this play where Josh Allen stiff-armed a guy and, threw his groin area at this guy's face or something like that. That's the type of situation that he wants. You want to remember those plays because that's the type of plays that I want to remember, for our players because –
I know we're off topic here, but what I once again, I'm not doing this. I don't have the time or patience to go through film and cut. But I would do as advice, not that I'm going to do it, but would be a good idea of Sean, if you're still listening, and it's up to you. But I would do something like a film study on the top 5 plays on offense or the top 5 plays on defense. And then that will kind of be fun because if you do the video right, you can get, number 5, coming at number 4. And then there's just an idea of just throwing that out there, buddy. But I would like that for me would be cool because now I'm watching a top 5 plays of the game against this particular team. And I get to see what your thoughts are on the film study of that play and why it's number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, listen,
I'm just throwing it out there, but I'm not doing it.
We also have other Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channels that watch this that are Bills fans. So let's not give them the idea. Great idea. You got to keep that a secret. You got to keep our secrets in the private chat. Okay. That's something we shouldn't have mentioned. So you're going to see like Buffalo Fanatics or another, built-in Buffalo, somebody like that's going to come into the chat.
That would be terrible.
Buffalo Rumblings is going to have their new top 5 plays based off of Tommy's suggestions. Thank you, Tommy, for coming up with that. You're going to see that happen now next week where it's going to be all over the channel. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a great topic though. But Tommy, I'm going to wrap it up real quick, man. Yeah. I want to get the folks out of here. We're at the hour and 30-minute mark.
We are, man.
I want to say thank you so much for coming on short notice. You didn't even have a heads up that we're going to do the show. I do appreciate you coming on. One thing I do want to ask you, though, for the folks that don't know you on Nickel City Mafia, and you have your Mafia Sports Report page.
Yeah.
I want to know the story of how you became a Bills fan, because that's always something important. I always ask people how they became a Bills fan. So I want to know your story of how you became a Bills fan before I let you go.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I mean, I've told my story before. You might not know it, but my dad held me up in front of the stadium, like the scene in The Lion King. That's how I became a Bills fan. And I want to know.
Say it again.
My dad held me up in front of the stadium, like the scene in The Lion King, dedicating me as a Bills fan, and saying that you're going to be the son that's going to go on and play for the Buffalo Bills. Oh. Reluctantly, I let him down. He's very disappointed in me. He said that I'm his least favorite son. So I think that's probably true. He said that of the sons that he has, he wishes that I would have played for the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to. I did give him a better, I would say, experience though, because now being able to cover the Buffalo Bills and he is able to watch and learn things that he doesn't normally see. He does appreciate that. So he's like, all for it.
I mean, you may not play for the Buffalo Bills, but you cover the Buffalo Bills.
I cover the Buffalo Bills. And I do it by myself. That's the other thing. I do it. My channel is by myself. It's one person running the whole entire freaking show, the social media, everything you can possibly imagine. I do it on my own. But I also do it with guys like you and Nickel City Mafia, Red, White, and Bills. All the channels that help out. I appreciate it so much. So
you're doing it. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna tell you like this, man. You're doing it the right way. I mean, that's I know we're off topic again, but I started my channel solo. Okay, wasn't easy. I look back at some of my early stuff. I think I started in 2020. Yeah, it's 2020. And it was cringy. It was bad. It was really bad. The lighting was bad. I felt like I was reading off a paper. Like it was just super cringy. But I also learned a lot. Like as it went on, I learned how to, to do a show by myself without having a co-host. Like everything I had to go and I had to earn my audience. I had to earn my subscribers. And then I met Mikey. I met Mikey in 2021. And he was a blessing in disguise, and it really worked. I mean, and that's how my channel really started, really taking off, was in 2020, 2021, 2022, early 2022, something like that. It started really popping off. But yeah, man, you're doing it the right way. Trust me, man. Like you just got to keep grinding. But solo for me, is the way to go, because then you're really comfortable. If you're, if co-host is sick, or if you want to do a video, you're not like. Because a lot like Mikey, for instance, he can't go solo. He's a really, really tough time. He feeds off. He likes to feed off someone else, and that's fine. But I could do solo all day. I could talk for days. Now, so how did I become a Buffalo Bills fan? First of all, diehard Buffalo Bills fan. Got the Bills Mafia tattoo there. So I've been a fan since 1989. And believe it or not, I was born in South Florida. And
so I got to ask you this: where in South Florida were you born?
So Broward County, which is Fort Lauderdale area.
Yep.
So I'm from South Florida, where the Dolphins are terrible, shitty Dolphins. So I played sports my whole life. As a kid, I loved sports, football, basketball, soccer. But I didn't watch a lot of sports. Like I really wasn't. I was outside a lot. You're a kid.
Yep.
So the playoffs were on, and my mom's boyfriend at the time was watching Buffalo and Cleveland. And I was just like, damn, man, like who's this team, right? and it got me from there. It was Cleveland or Cincinnati. I think it was Cleveland, right? The 1989 playoff game. I could be wrong. I thought it was Cleveland. Let me pull that up, because I'm pretty sure it was one of the orangey teams. It's been so long. We lost that game. I think it was the Browns playoff loss. So I want to say it was the Browns. Yeah, the Browns, exactly. I was thinking the orange team, but yeah. So I'm like, who is this team? Is Jim Gallagher? I was just like, this is so cool looking, So then I got hooked, right? I started buying football cards, right? And I had to get Buffalo Bills football cards and Jim Kelly, and right. And 90 came, And I was fucking, dude, I was dialed in, man. And I did not miss games, bro. I refused. And I used to, because I lived in South Florida, we didn't have a lot of games. You got to remember back then in the 80s or 90s, there was no NFL ticket. Like you could watch, you watched what was they gave you. You know what I mean? On CBS or NFL. So I used to take, so I couldn't watch every game, you know. So I would take like newspaper articles and cut them and paste them on my wall, like when we won games. Like I was so dialed in to the Bills, and that's how I became a fan, really, just by luck. And I would go to the Dolphins game with like my mom at the time, diehard Dolphins fan. I would drag like Dolphins like stuffed animal on the floor, like they hated me. I was Buffalo Bills out, man, young kid. I didn't care. And yeah, that's how I became a fan, man. And it's been I saw all the Super Bowl losses, which was heartbreaking, and
took a couple of years off of your life, right?
Yes, and that kick was disgusting. We should have never. It should, honestly, bro, it should have never came down to the kick.
Yep.
Like we were a better team. Like out of all the Super Bowls, that was the one Super Bowl we should have won, and we were the better team, and we just played like shit. I think these, you know, I think we were taking them lightly. I'll be honest with you. I think we were partying too much. We were feeling ourselves too much, and we just shit the bed. And it came down to a kick. And by the way, Norwood was a decent kicker. He wasn't a bad kicker. Just 49 yards. That's not short either. That's a decent kick, bro. Barely missing. And then the rest of the Super Bowls, I felt like Washington was a way better team at that time. They just had a magical season. The Cowboys that offensive line was sick. They had so many playmakers on that team. And then the drought, and the drought was so rough, bro. So I lived through all of this, man. So it's funny, like when I talk to Bills fans that are like, I've been watching since 2018, and I'm like, dude,
you're not a true fan at that point.
You have no idea, bro. You have no idea. Like you're complaining about like 2 losses. No, dude, I lived through multiple coaches and GMs and crappy quarterback. Like, dude,
if you can name more than 10 of the quarterbacks that were in the drought, then you're a true freaking fan. And I'm not going to put you on the test. I'm not going to put you on the test. I know you, dude.
I could probably, I could get up there, man. I really can. So Fitzpatrick was one. Kelly Holcomb, I believe we had. He was a quarterback here for a second.
We'll throw out a name that
JP Lossman, Trent Edwards, EJ Manuel. Let's see who else. Orton was a quarterback here. Who, by the way, I didn't mind, by the way, Orton. I thought he was okay. But go ahead.
How about this name? Brian Brom.
Brian Brom, yeah, of course.
Yep. Okay.
Alex Van Pelt, right? Alex Van Pelt was a quarterback for us.
Lewis.
Now, I believe I would say Rob Johnson, but he got us to the playoffs, so that doesn't count. No. I would say Doug Flutie, but he also got us to the playoffs. By the way, that was ridiculous. He should have started in that playoff game. That Lewis was also a quarterback, but I don't know. He wasn't a starter, I don't believe. God, Tool, terrible.
We can name.
I know I'm missing more. Trust me, I am missing a lot. I know I'm missing more.
Vince Young and Matt Liner being on the team.
Vince Young was, but he wasn't a starter, but he did come in. I think we cut him. I think.
Yeah.
Liner also was a backup. We cut. I don't think he even lasted long either.
Nope.
God, man, who else, man? So many. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but I don't. Oh, Drew Bledsoe. He wasn't a playoff quarterback.
No.
By the way. And by the way, I like JP Lossman. I thought JP Lossman got a raw deal here. I know a lot of people are like, oh, JP Lossman sucks. Like, he wasn't that bad, guys. He was a mobile quarterback. He had a good arm, a little cocky, but I thought he was way better than Trent sorry-ass check down Edwards. And he just was on a bad team. We had a bunch of bad coaches. But I will say the one most disappointing out of all that playoff drought for me was the 2002 Buffalo Bills. We were stacked on offense, bro. Go look at that team.
Peerless Price, Eric
Moles, Peerless Price, both over 1,200 receiving yards. Travis Henry had almost 1,500 rushing yards.
Yep.
Josh Reed had 500 receiving yards.
Yep.
Bledsoe had over 40 200 passing yards.
Yep.
Our defense was not good, and we had a defensive-minded head coach in Greg Williams. Terrible.
Yeah.
By the way, we were 8-8, I believe, that year. And you know who won the division and had 9 wins was the Jets. Terrible.
Yep.
That's how terrible it was. All we had to do was win
like
2 more games. We would have been like so disappointing. And then after that, it was just coach after coach, shitty pick. Yep. Now, mind you, too, there were some decent picks. It just we didn't have a goal team. Remember, we would go running back a lot.
Yeah,
we would cycle through running back. C.J. Spiller, Marshawn Lynch. By the way, Fred Jackson, love Fred Jackson. I think he was undrafted, I believe. But man, great. We had great players here. I feel so bad. Yeah, I got a Fred one too. Love Fred, by the way. Nothing but respect for Fred. But man, I feel bad for the players that played here through the drought years because there were so many guys that could have went elsewhere. And I'll say one guy who's my favorite, Bill, Eric Molds, who's so underrated, so not talked about. If that dude played anywhere else, and like no joke, he would have been a Hall of Famer. I'm telling you,
easily.
He was that dynamic. Nobody talked. He was the original OBJ. That dude was making one-handed catches. He was fast. He was strong. Like, dude, imagine Eric Molds on this team today. I mean, oh my God, we'd be unstoppable with him and Diggs. But I feel, like I said, I feel bad for some of these guys that stuck around, got nothing in the return to show for it. Terrence McGee, Lee Evans. I mean, so many talented guys.
Ryan
Lindell, bro. I'm
Brian Moorman. I'm trying to figure it out. Kyle Williams. Throw him out there. Look at Kyle Williams.
Well, he finally, thank God, he got at least
a playoff game.
You know, he got this. You know, he got to be involved in one, but. It was crazy. Fred Jackson. I mean, I can go on and on. Like a lot of these guys that just didn't get the opportunity to get a playoff. See the playoffs, man. It just sucks, man. So, but yeah, that's how I became a Bills fan. I've been a fan a long time. I actually went to my first Buffalo game in 2018 against the Lions to see Josh Allen his rookie year. It was awesome because I live in Detroit now, so it was a 4-hour drive. I had a blast. I had great seats in Buffalo at the time. It wasn't Highmark Stadium. It was New Era Field.
Yep.
And dude, man, Josh Allen in that game was sloppy, but still, Josh Allen just unbelievable, man. Robert Foster was our main receiver.
Yep, I remember that.
So rough year, but I saw the potential in Josh Allen that year, where a lot of people were shitting on him or hating on him, and I'm like.
Yep.
You can see it. Like if you're really a fan, and a lot of people that hate Josh Allen still to this day, they don't really watch us. They just want to hate because they remember his bad play at one point and he can't get the job done. He's like, I hate that narrative about him. Like it bothers me because it's like Josh can't win the big game. It's like, bro, he's played very well in a lot of big games.
Yeah.
But I'm sure some games he didn't do so hot, but go back and look at any quarterback. They've all had some bad moments in some big games. Tom Brady had some bad moments in games. They lost 2 Super Bowls against the Giants that they should have won. I mean, they could have been undefeated. I'm not saying he was terrible, but he's had bad games. Patrick Mahomes, he's had bad games. So they just like to point at Josh and just say, he's the choke artist. He's the one. It bothers me, man. It does, because they don't watch the dude play, man. Like they really don't understand like what he puts out there on the field, man. Like he puts everything out there, and it bothers me when people are just like they shit on him. And I cannot stand that, bro. So love our quarterback. Let that dude play. Let Josh be Josh. This Josh that we've seen for the first 6 or 7 weeks is not what I know. And by the way, Von Miller said the same thing 2 weeks ago, said, I came here because Josh played like this, and this is the Josh I know. I don't know what the hell this is. I want Josh to be, I don't care if he throws 6 interceptions. Like, let that dude play, be him. And I think that also was a wake-up call from McDermott, too. You got to let him be him. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, let Josh be Josh, and I think that's the way we should end it, too. But Tommy, thank you so much for coming on the Nickel City Mafia. Really do appreciate you, man.
Anytime, brother.
Make sure you like and follow Tommy on Twitter as well as on YouTube. Incredible talent that we have here, and other guys that we have that we can add to the Nickel City Mafia platform. His channel is plugged in on the Nickel City Mafia, so go ahead and over to his channel. Don't forget to also like and subscribe to Red, White, and Bills, Go Bills podcast, as well as Nickel City Mafia. For myself, Brett, and Tommy, we really do appreciate you for watching. Like, subscribe to the video, share it with all your friends. We greatly appreciate it as well. And lastly, don't forget to click on over to the Sabres Edge on Nickel City Mafia. Check out the shows there as well. Check out the Red, White, and Ruthless show every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. We'll be back again next week with our talented crew that we have. No offense to Tommy that he's not talented, but we'll have our regular scheduled programming back with the handsome man himself and Sean Kula. Sorry that we had to bring on the guys that needed a little bit more of the, I would say, makeup crew that we have to have a little bit more makeup on, but we'll be back with our normal crew. But we'll see you next time for another edition of the Red, White, and Ruthless. Until then, go Bills.
Go Bills.